Hey, this is Ross. I am from the band Prime Circle.
Innocence breaking in. We won't go.
No, I mean, South Africa is a weird industry because you'll play a big show and then you'll play small, intimate stuff there as well. So it's not a very, all the venues are very different there. So you have to sort of change it up as you go. So you're playing smaller venues, and sometimes you'll play Kirstenbosch Gardens to 6,000 people, and then the next night you're playing to 120 people. So it's always constantly changing. So for us to come here, it's just, it's very cool because a lot of these venues are quite established, and it's very nice to see. Big crowds are something else. It's like a big animal, you know what I mean? It becomes one big thing. You know, we played with Metallica in South Africa to 45,000, and it was like it became one animal rather than 45,000 people. It was a crazy thing to do, but I've always preferred, like, it scares me to play smaller. So I don't know, it depends on the time. But a smaller show is something that we love, those intimate shows as well, you know. We wrote a bit in Nuremberg when we were last here. We wrote the actual title. Dale, the drummer, actually wrote the music for it, which was quite cool. He was listening to a lot of The Cure at the time, but we wrote some stuff here. We do write on the road, but we generally try and get into a studio environment. And I'm constantly trying to write, but you know, you never know. Sometimes it's a hit or miss kind of thing, you know. We get together sometimes. A lot of the time, it'll be me in a studio, and I'll like this last record was a lot of me being alone, which was quite cool. Guys coming in to do their parts, and then they would just leave me to do my lyrics and the melodies and stuff. So it was a lot more, I suppose, introverted with myself rather than just being with the band the whole time. But we have written together in the past, so it does change. As over the years, we've tried it in many different ways. Like we've fought each other. With I think Evidence there was a lot of fighting going on, and you can hear it in some of the songs, which is cool because it rubs off on the music. And then some albums we've done with just this good vibes. So each album is different. Yeah, I think Three Doors Down really paved the way for us. They were an amazing band to tour with because they were really cool and like shared a lot of stories with us, and we got along very well with them, and their fans were just great to us. So it was a really cool thing. And then the next time we came back, it was just open to us to tour. Yeah, was it? I'd love to have Biffy Clyro. I'd love to maybe get H Blocks back together, get some German guys over. You know, I don't know. Like it would be interesting to see if it would be get as many bands from all over. This year we really wanted to get Crowded House, but maybe we'll get them next year. So we'll just try and get some bands from all over. Yeah. Durban was like sort of our Seattle in the beginning. Like there was a lot of, like, Neil was in a band called Jimmy 12-inch. He's the keyboard player in Prime Circle, and they were really cool for me. They were a very heavy band, and all of them had dreadlocks, and they were really very hardcore, and I loved that about them. So Durban had those hardcore kind of bands, and but it's always changing. Cape Town's always had these kind of more eclectic, folky kind of scene, but then now there's a lot more rock bands from there. There's a Belleville rock scene, so it's. Yeah, the music business in South Africa is very, it's a lot smaller industry, but there's a lot of diversity. I snuck out of this of my parents' house, and we went down to a place called the Galleria Cafe, and we didn't even have enough money for, like, I think we had one beer. I think we were too young for that anyway, but they gave us a beer. And we watched Scrape, and we watched these cool bands. And I remember seeing the leather chair next to the stage, and only the band could sit there. And it was the coolest chair in the world I'd ever seen. And watching these bands, it was fucking incredible. It was awesome. Yeah. It was actually the Silverchair. Like, I was a big Nirvana fan and everything like that, but Silverchair was one of the most defining. With the Frog Snot, it was actually Neon Ballroom that came out, and I remember it was the anthem for the year 2000, so it must have been 98 when that came out, and that's when I really started pushing more that I wanted to play music, not rather just listen to it. So then I started like playing a lot more and getting into it. Then there's something in you, like it changes the way your insides look, I think, when that happens, and then you become a musician, and you're cursed for life. I used to play on my own at coffee shops and make up songs as I go, and I always jam in the woods with my friends. Like, we'd go sneak out and go smoke weed and just try and write as much songs as we could and try and impress each other. And then I started a band called the Fallen Angels, which was quite a more grungy, like a Silverchair kind of thing. And then there was Fuse, and there was so many. And then like one person would leave the band, and then there would be someone else, so we'd have to change the whole band. And eventually I met Marco and the guys through a friend of ours passed away. He was the best speed guitarist I'd ever seen in my life. His name was George Hutting, and he was a speed metal guru. He was amazing. And we used to go and hang out and just watch these guys play. Like they were the real thing, you know, like I'd never seen anything like it. And everyone came together to do a tribute for him, and I met the rest of the guys there, and we formed Prime Circle. Matchbox 20 was the guys were big fans of Matchbox 20, and I really wasn't. I wanted Prime Circle to actually be quite a lot heavier than it is. And then we sort of met in the middle, and that's sort of what came out, you know, and it just how it ended up being, you know. I think Marco had a big influence on initially on what we wanted to do, and he got in the car and tried to get us labels and, you know, meet all the people and try and get the sound, and then from there we just created who we are, you know. I do. It was we played in a place called the Rock Cafe, and we played with a band called Perez, and they were like the biggest band at the time, and I was so nervous, and yeah, it was a great time. Yeah. I think, you know, we just want to keep on. We'd like to have a like platinum record here. You know, we'd love to have that. I think just continually grow as a band. You know, you don't want to stagnate, and you know, you want to keep growing. So we want to be playing arenas, I think, in the next year. I think that's the plan. We're going to be working on a new record, so probably bringing that out at the end of the year, and yeah, that will springboard us to the next step, you know. So I think that's just keep going, keep playing. I have been working on a solo record as well as stuff for the band. I've always wanted to do a solo thing, not to break up the band at all. It's something very different. So my focus has been like sort of two minds. I've been trying to split myself up, but we are going back when we get back from this tour. Now the band is going into studio to start working on a new release. So we are currently working on some stuff, and we're going to keep on, I think, with what we're doing, but we might edge it up a little bit with this next one, get a little bit angrier. You know. First car I drove was a Ford Cortina. It was green. It was called the Green Mamba. It was my dad's car, and we called it the Green Mamba because it bit every other car. Like, it hit everything. That car was a maniac. It's like one of those, what was that car, that movie where the car's alive, you know? I think that the Green Mamba was a living thing. Yeah. First cigarette I smoked was in a skate park, underground skate park, and it was Chesterfield. And I remember blowing out of my nose, and it was like, that was amazing, you know. I still have that. I gave up smoking a while ago, like 2 years ago, and that's still, you know, feel that, still taste it. First time I was really drunk, it was on a farm outside of Middelburg where I grew up. It was a friend's farm, and the Pixies were playing in the background, and it was the Surfer Rosa album, and I was throwing up. I just couldn't. It was so bad. I just couldn't move. I thought I was gonna die. I feel sick thinking about it now. You know, I was an Edgar's announcer. I was so bad at everything. They gave me a job as I was actually a waiter. My first job, I was a waiter, and I used to do double shifts and walk away with like $10 because I just ate all day. And I was a terrible waiter. There's still 2 girls somewhere waiting on milkshakes. I just never got back to them. You know, I was really bad. I felt bad. I cried. I was a kid, and we were in a swimming pool, and it was a weekend. It wasn't even a school day, and I punched him in the top of his head because he was being a prick. And then his sister was a prefect at the school, and she ran up to the side of the pool and said, "I'm taking you to the office on Monday." Like, this was not even school related, and I started crying. Yeah, terrible. Sorry, dude. I remember it was on the swings, man. Like, I was in primary school, and I kissed this girl. And yeah, it was great. I remember it was pretty cool, you know. I know her, actually. No, wait. Her name is Gina. Yeah. Hey, Gina.